from wild assault allegations to whispers of racketeering, prostitution rings, and a stash of over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, the image of Sean Diddy Combs is unraveling faster than anyone could have imagined. But just when we thought we'd heard it all, Cassie Ventura's explosive testimony cracked the facade wide open, revealing years of alleged abuse, psychological manipulation, and a private world darker than any headline dared to suggest. The courtroom is finally pulling back the curtain, and what's being exposed is shaking the industry to its core. Body Cassie Ventura's testimony didn't just shake the room, it shattered illusions. What we heard painted a portrait so jarringly different from the public image that it felt like discovering a doppelganger had been walking among us all along. While the world fawned over Diddy's magazine covers, billion-dollar business ventures, and red carpet charm, Cassie was allegedly living in an entirely different reality, a shadow realm behind the velvet rope, where the smile that lit up stages supposedly masked something far darker. On one hand, polished interviews, philanthropy, and A-list friendships. On the other, chilling allegations of control, intimidation, and abuse. Claims so unsettling that they left seasoned courtroom veterans exchanging stunned glances. Are we finally glimpsing the man behind the marketing machine? Because for the first time, it felt like the myth was cracking. And the industry insiders who once swore they knew Diddy are now questioning whether they ever really did. As Diddy, ever the icon of swagger and control, walked into that courtroom looking more ready for a high-fashion editorial than a serious legal proceeding. He was composed, surrounded by his legal dream team, and exuding confidence. But barely 30 minutes into Cassie's testimony, that carefully constructed facade began to collapse. Multiple sources inside the courtroom described the transformation as nothing short of shocking. The powerful mogul slowly morphing into a visibly shaken defendant. As Cassie calmly detailed her version of events, Diddy's control began to fray. Damn! Objections flew from his lawyers like panicked lifeboats, but the ship was already taking on water. One insider described it as watching someone realize, maybe for the first time in decades, that they're no longer the most powerful person in the room. Geez, for a man used to controlling every narrative, this was a story he couldn't rewrite. And then, the testimony escalated. If you're wondering what triggered such a visible meltdown, the answer became painfully clear as the afternoon wore on. Cassie's next round of allegations wasn't just personal. They were potentially career-ending, the kind of claims that don't just damage reputations, but threaten to dismantle entire legacies. Cassie dropped a detail that made everyone go silent. She claimed that, at one point, she actually began looking forward to the so-called freak-offs. Yes, she used those exact words. The prosecution asked her why, and for a moment it felt like the entire courtroom stopped breathing, because suddenly, this wasn't just a case, it was a reckoning, and the gap between the public persona and the private behavior had never felt wider. Gone were the polished music videos and glowing press releases. In their place, Cassie offered a slow, steady unraveling, starting with the smaller moments and building into deeply unsettling allegations. Jurors weren't just listening, they were reacting. Because what she described wasn't just a toxic relationship, it was a power imbalance allegedly weaponized over time. And what made it all the more compelling? Her delivery, calm, chronological, unshakably specific. No theatrics, no vagueness, just a clear, methodical breakdown of a relationship where, she claims, personal and professional control blurred into something much darker. At first, it was about her career, how her music, her image, even her opportunities were allegedly used as leverage. Then came stories of monitored friendships and limited freedom. But what really made the room lean in? the allegations of surveillance, not metaphorical, literal. Cassie claimed Diddy used actual tracking tech to monitor her movements in real time. According to her, it wasn't occasional jealousy, it was a system, one designed to keep her under constant watch. And just as chilling were her claims of gradual isolation. Friends and family allegedly pushed out one by one until her world shrank down to just him and those who wouldn't question him. Experts in the gallery whispered what many were thinking. This wasn't just about control. These were classic coercive tactics, with private jets and penthouses as the setting. And Diddy? He wasn't exactly stone-faced through it all. Court observers said he fidgeted non-stop, passed frantic notes to his attorneys, and had to be warned by the judge more than once to control his reactions. But then came what people in that courtroom are now calling the phone moment. Cassie produced old text messages and emails that, according to sources, directly contradicted public statements made over the years. The look on Diddy's face reportedly said it all. Had he assumed they were deleted? If she had this, what else could she be holding? And then, the tone shifted entirely. From disturbing to devastating, Cassie described alleged incidents of physical assault, being shoved against walls during arguments, pushed downstairs in a Miami hotel, even choked to the point of nearly losing consciousness. The courtroom, by then already tense, fell completely silent. Reporters noted one juror quietly wiping away tears. Even the most seasoned entertainment journalists admitted they weren't prepared for the sheer level of detail. But just when you thought the testimony couldn't get any more unsettling, others began stepping forward, and the courtroom's atmosphere shifted from tense to chilling. Because it wasn't just Cassie's voice echoing through the courtroom now, it was the voices of others who claimed to have seen, felt, and feared the same things. Carrie Morgan, a model and longtime friend of Cassie, delivered a gut punch of her own. She told the court that Diddy didn't just abuse Cassie, he allegedly turned violent with her too. In a harrowing account, Morgan claimed Combs once attacked her inside Cassie's California home, choking her and striking her in the head with a wooden hanger. According to her, their decade-long friendship unraveled after that incident. But even before that, Morgan said the red flags were flying. She recounted seeing Combs assault Cassie multiple times, once dragging her by the hair during a vacation in Jamaica. And perhaps, most telling of all, Morgan recalled how Cassie had changed under his influence. How a woman who once barely touched alcohol or drugs now seemed increasingly distant, trapped in something far darker than a high-profile romance. Morgan said she begged her friend to leave, but the grip, she implied, was already too tight. Then came Dawn Richard, former Danity Kane member, former insider, and, as it turns out, a witness to a pattern of alleged violence she could no longer ignore. Taking the stand, Richard didn't mince words. Between 2009 and 2011, she said she frequently saw Combs abuse Cassie, punching, slapping, choking, dragging, and kicking her. In one disturbing moment, Richard recounted how Cassie once wore sunglasses after a particularly brutal attack in 2009 to hide the injuries. She and fellow singer Kalina Harper did the same, not to hide their own wounds, but in solidarity. A quiet protest, a silent scream. Richard remembered bruises on Cassie's face, arms, and knees. She remembered the violence that would erupt if Cassie so much as voiced her own opinion. And she remembered the threats. According to her, Combs didn't just lash out physically, he used fear like a weapon. She testified that he warned her and others to stay silent. "If we said anything," she recalled him saying, "we could go missing. We could die." The message was loud and clear. Stay out of my relationship or else. And still, the testimony kept coming. David James, Diddy's former personal assistant, took the stand with his own revelations, not just about what he saw, but about the environment itself. He described a culture of obedience, of silence. One comment during his early days on the job stuck with him all these years. A female staffer told him plainly, "This is Mr. Combs's kingdom. We're all here to serve it." A kingdom, with one ruler, and everyone else expected to fall in line. Stay connected with us as this case develops, and hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Until next time.